Let's go to line number 3. Bill, you're on the air. Hi, Bill.
Oh, hey, how you doing?
Doing great. How about you?
Good. You want to make a quick call today? I haven't had a chance, and correct me if this topic has already been brought up, but it has to do with the wind turbine hydrogen project in central Newfoundland. I know I've heard lots of debate on different things, but I wanted to bring this to the table. So about a year and a half to 2 years ago, the provincial government, right in the middle of the project in central Newfoundland, in the New Bay Road area, is an area called New Bay Pond. It's about 32 kilometers from Grand Falls. It's been a cabin development area for probably the last 20 years. They've had 3 phases opened up. And about a year and a half ago, the provincial government opened up a 4th phase and offered 60 cabin lots for sale, not for lease. Approximately an acre, a little bit larger, each cabin lot. 40 of them were waterside and 20 of them were not. And they came surveyed and had a septic survey done, and the cost was about $18,000 to $22,000 per cabin lot, depending on size and location. They had a public draw, and to get your name into the draw, you had to pay $25. And you could, put as many family members into the draw if you wanted. If you wanted to put 10 names in for the chance to get a family member to get drawn and be able to pick a lot, you could. So the 60 lots were sold. They had thousands of people put their money in, so they made tens and $20,000 on the application process. They then sold 60 building lots at approximately $18,000 to $20,000 each. You can do the math on that. We're in the millions. Mm-hmm. They never ever disclosed that there was a project being developed with windmills. So right now, I have one of these blocks, waterfront, looking across the lake. We were going to build a retirement cabin there. And at the latest meeting in Botwood, the map has come out, and that pond, which is a beautiful pond, and by the way, has 3 areas of developed zones where people have already put in, major cabin developments for their own personal use, is now going to be surrounded by over 400 windmills, and each windmill is going to have approximately a square acre of clear cut. And that's not taking into consideration the land development, the road development, the traffic, and so on and so forth, because it's a channel from New Bay Pond directly to Botwood to get to the port, so they're going to open up the road there. So my problem with all this is the government knew this. This has been an ongoing project for the last 3 or 4 years, and they unloaded land to unsuspecting taxpayers in a draw and made millions of dollars and never disclosed that there was a project in development for this particular area. They wanted to sell off the land before the project was announced.
A couple of questions for you.
If that's ever been brought up.
No, it hasn't been, and I'm glad you did, because the bid area for the Exploits Valley Renewable Energy Corporation is about 30,000 hectares. But of course, as you point out, rightfully so, it doesn't include all the additional development, whether it be clear cutting and the roads being established. When did the lottery close for the cabin country?
I would have to go back and look at my dates, but I mean, we've got involved in the lottery process and closed the purchase about a year and a half ago.
Okay, and so that would be in pretty close proximity to when Exploits Valley was considering Botwood as the hub for their green hydrogen ammonia play. So that's really interesting tangle here. And when you say surrounded, describe what you mean by surrounded. Like, would you be in the middle of the field of the wind turbines, or they'd be in close proximity to you, or what does surrounded actually mean?
In Kitty Vitty in St. John's, and there's a house on basically close to the water's edge, which there are. And if you were to look across from the pond where the entry is now, penitentiary, you see 300 or 400 windmills. They have a buffer zone around the pond, so many meters away from the water's edge. But after that, it's free game. So and you can get a map online and see this. The pond is called New Bay Pond. It's a beautiful pond about 7 kilometers long, and that whole area is the pond itself, with the buffer to the water's edge excluded, is going to be surrounded on both sides, predominantly on the Botwood side, right up to the buffer zone, but also behind as well, with I forget the actual number, but I think it's 420, 430 plus windmills. And these windmills are all the large windmills that they're saying are going to be, the height or greater than the Confederation building, a couple of 100 meters. So it's unbelievable wrong in someone's. I mean, I have it from good authority that this was in the process. I found out after the fact. When the land was being sold. So, I mean, it's like the government knew there was going to be a development there, but they didn't disclose this. So we were purchasing land to build a retirement cabin, in an area close to Grand Falls, because it's one of the things you have to, it's my former hometown, and it's one of the things you have to take into consideration when you get to a certain age. You don't want to be out isolated somewhere, but the beauty of this one was we could have a cabin. We'd be 20, 30 kilometers from a major center and from a hospital and so on and so forth as you get up in age, so we didn't mind building a cabin there. Now, I've invested $20,000 in a block of land where I really don't want to develop it and have, my view off my cabin deck of 300 or 400 windmills staring at me and the noise that goes along with it. But it's also made the cabin land, it devalued it. So now I've invested money into a piece of land I can't sell. So, I urge you to go on their site and look up the development. And they've got the corridor, going east from New Bay Pond, surrounding New Bay Pond, and right down into Point Leamington and into Botwood. And none of this was disclosed by the provincial government. So, I do know that there were 60 cabin lots approximately up for sale. I think they did sell about 55 of them. There was a couple that were not waterfront people didn't want. And they had, thousands of applications at $25 a pop. So they made, $25,000, $35,000 there. We're talking over $1 million, maybe $2 million that the government has gotten from this land sale, and they didn't disclose facts about a development in the area.
Have you gone to government with this complaint and whether or not there's any redress available?
We're working on it, and I just wanted to bring it out there because I know there is a site that somebody put me on towards with regards to the wind turbine development, and it's disturbing in so many ways. I mean, the fact that they're going to put so many windmills in an area where there's already been, for the last 20 years, not only cabin developments, but there's a major international, outfitting company in that area that's going to be basically destroyed. Hunting and fishing lodge, 2 lodges. And, one of the other things that disturbs me is that if you look at the plans for Europe when they put these wind turbines in, they are doing as minimalistic an approach to putting them in as possible. Whereas in Newfoundland, the plan right now that I've seen, and I could be corrected, I could be wrong, and misinformation is always out there, but we're looking at a square acre of land to be clear-cut for each windmill. So you're looking at 400 windmills. You're looking at a destruction just cut of 400 square acres. And, I could be corrected on that. But my thought on that is, of course, compared to Europe, which is very minimalistic, which is like less than half a square acre per windmill, I'm assuming that the clear cut of such a major piece of land is going to incorporate a larger number of initial jobs to be able for the government to say, well, we've employed X number of people, and we're doing that because we're clear cutting such a large piece of land, basically a make-work project. Instead of creating a half an acre of clear cut for each windmill, I'm going to create an acre. I can employ more people for longer, not realizing that the effect it has on an environmental area, and where it is. So very disturbed, very upset, and wanted to put it out there because not only are there 40 or 50 people that, got into this process in the last phase. And I do know, some people went ahead. Now, I haven't done it because it was a retirement project. But I know some people have already clear-cut their land. They've already, poured foundations. They've already built small cabins on the land that was sold a year and a half to 2 years ago. Plus, the first three phases of New Bay Pond has been there for, oh my goodness, I wouldn't even hazard to say, but 20 or 30 years. The government knew this was a recreational cabin area when they took it on. New Bay Pond is an extremely popular area. I grew up in Grand Falls. It's been like this for the last 70 years. It's been a beautiful area to go to.
Okay.
And so they know that people have an investment there already. Some $300,000 and $400,000 in summer homes, and right. It's disturbing.
I appreciate the call this morning and the topic because I wasn't aware of this, but now that I am, I will check out that map and I will follow up because if government was willing to sell the property without full disclosure, which is part and parcel of selling, making a financial transaction regarding real estate, including just undeveloped land, let me see what I can find out. But I appreciate you putting this in my ear this morning.
I appreciate your time, and if you do a little bit of deep diving, or if you want it, I have the pictures from the presentation in Botwood. You can go on their website and get them, but if not, I can forward them to you, and you can actually see the development, how it rings the land and the pond, and exactly where it is. It's destroyed a beautiful area, but more so for me, I'm getting a vibe, and I hate to come out and accuse, but there's too many arrows pointing to the fact that it was a little bit underhanded. So
it certainly doesn't sound completely above board. Bill, I'm off to the news, but I appreciate your time.
Thank you for yours. You have a good day.
You too. Bye-bye. And just for context, so if the wind turbines were proposed at about 200 meters or taller, the Confederation building is 64 meters. 200 meters is about 650 odd feet. Signal Hill is 167 meters from sea level. That's how tall it is. And these windmills are taller than that. Let's take a break for the news. Don't go away.